Inside Out is a Pixar Studio animated film directed by Docter. In this film, he presents a unique and deeply emotional story about growing up, emotions, and inner struggle. Previously, I have already analyzed this movie in terms of main character's arc, the overall plot, and opening sequence. Today I will focus on that same sequence again, but this time to examine its approach to cinematography, editing, sound, and most importantly, mise-en-scene, as it's the most frequently used element in this case. Even before the film begins, we are greeted with the main theme titled Bundle of Joy, composed by Michael Giacchino. If you haven't seen this animated film even once, you'll recognize it from the very first notes. In addition to the music, the sound design is exceptionally well crafted. For instance, the memories that turn into glass orbs inside characters' mind are portrayed so convincingly that you'll easily believe in their reality. Or the sound of drink being sipped, followed by the subtle freezing of ice. Details like this make it clear that tremendous amount of work went into this sound design. As for the cinematography, we are immediately met with one drawback. The film partially breaks that fundamental rule of cinema, show, don't tell, by introducing a narrator, who is the joy. While this isn't overly critical, since she mostly just described what we already seen, I believe her narration wasn't entirely necessary. The visual alone would have been enough for the audience to understand what was happening on their own. The editing overall doesn't offer anything particularly unique. It's simply done well, without any measures or flaws, but also without standout highlights. What's much more interesting in that case is the use of montage. It's effectively employed in the scenes where new emotions are introduced and begin to influence Riley. For example, when the girl suddenly shifts her mood due to the specific emotions, we're immediately shown that different emotions has taken control over the console inside her head. This visual cue makes it clear what caused the change, and this principle becomes the foundation for the most of the scenes throughout the film. And now what I believe to be the most important part of this sequence, the mise-en-scene. At its core, mise-en-scene is a combination of different elements that together takes special meaning and helps telling the story. A great example of this is a scene where we see Riley's first memory being turned into a glass orb, representing the memory itself. Immediately afterward, we watch Gears send the memory into the short-term memory section, which stores memories from the entire day. The section consists of several shelves, from which memories are transported through the tubes into a long-term memory later. The characters themselves are also excellent example of mise-en-scene, particularly through the use of colors and lighting, which are key techniques in this approach. The characters who personify emotions are perfectly designed to visually convey their emotion done regardless of the situation. The same applies to the controlling console. Whenever a different character touches it, it lights up in the character's corresponding color. Since we're talking about emotions, we're reminded that once again that joy is a leading emotion. This is clear because the story is told from her perspective.
Do you ever look at someone and wonder what is going on inside their head? Well, I know. I know Riley's head.
She was the first to appear, and the shelf is filled with mostly joyful memories, at least the first act. There is also one detail in this scene where Riley is threatened with no dessert if she doesn't eat her broccoli. Right after this, we see Anger reading a newspaper that literally says "no dessert," a great visual touch. Another noticeable example in the scene where we introduce to the concept of core memories, which powers and sustain the various personality islands that makes up Riley's identity. Based on how active these islands are in the background, we can determine Riley's dominant mood at any given moment. Later in the story, when the core memories are lost, we even see the islands start to dim and even collapse. There are many more examples like this throughout the whole film, offering plenty of material for analyzing and discussion. But in this sequence, I've covered everything I found most worth mentioning. That's all for today, and see you next time.